What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Today on the show, I want to start with this. Yesterday, we saw perhaps the greatest jewel in the transfer portal announce that he is committed to playing next year at LSU. He is, of course, FCS two-time All-American linebacker Jabril Cox. Now, Cox had wanted to visit LSU last month, but we've had this COVID-19 outbreak that has affected, among other things, recruiting. And he is the second high-profile player to announce a transfer commitment in as many weeks. We're also looking at a time for which kids are deciding that they're going to make their commitments without visiting. Travion Henderson, the number one running back in the 2021 class, decided he was going to commit to play at Ohio State without ever visiting. Same goes for Jabril Cox. The same goes for Trey Sermon. And this is not normal, not the new normal, just normal now, because that's where we're at. As the University of Oklahoma announced that it is suspending on-campus classes through at least July 31st. That is late summer. That means online sessions are the way everybody is going, and everybody's having to get used to this virtual teaching, but also virtual recruiting. Lots of phone calls, lots of FaceTime, lots of text messages, lots of DMs. We're talking about coaches putting together highlight reels of their strength and conditioning facilities, of their student unions, of their campuses, just in general, trying to give the kids something like a tour. I've also heard from kids that are online using YouTube to search out some of the surrounding parts of these institutions for which they are going to commit to play college football. Now, Jabril Cox, 92 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss last year, a finalist for the Buck Buchanan Award, which is for the best defensive player in FCS, and of course comes from a North Dakota State that has done nothing but win for the last decade. 45-1 over the last 3 years of his career. And he's joining up a squad that hasn't lost a game since 2018, at a time when they absolutely positively need help at linebacker, right? While we've been just talking about Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall, what they need is Jabril Cox's. Jacob Phillips, he's gone to the draft. Kayvon Chasen, he's gone to the draft. Patrick Queen, he's gone to the draft. They're so shallow at linebacker at LSU right now that they moved wide receiver Devontae Lee to the position. They're going to ask Damon Clark to try to step up and play. Marcel Brooks went from being a hybrid safety linebacker to an absolute linebacker, all while Bo Pelini was trying to put in his 4-3, so they're changing up the scheme as well. They're going to need players that have experience, that understand the position, that can cover up some of the holes that they're definitely going to have in their defense. And that's one reason why I believe the Cox chose LSU sight unseen, literally. He knows he's going to play right away, no matter what the college football season looks like. If it starts on time, awesome, great. But now we're in a place where it might see games that are cut off, might just play conference games, might start the season later in the semester and take it into the next semester, spring football, anybody, so that we can get the 12-game schedule in. That means that, hey, you might have to cut the 40 bowl games to maybe 20, still have your playoffs, but also brings into some other really interesting problems that are going to see us come up with interesting solutions. Like if you started football in the spring, is Trevor Lawrence going to play against NC State, or is he going to get settled for the NFL draft where he can make some money? And we're also at a really important juncture when we talk about college football and what it means to the economy and what it means to the NCAA, because we have Power 5 schools, not just Group of 5 schools, Power 5 schools that depend on their football team playing. Forget about the tickets, which is a big deal, right? Think about the television money. These are things that make your athletic program go round, which is another reason why I'm bullish on college football. Now, whether or not it is safe to play is the big question. Everybody is waiting for an all clear, but now we have athletic directors and coaches that have to start talking through their contingencies. As a matter of fact, Lincoln Riley had said earlier this week, if everything starts up on June 1st, I don't see why this should be a problem. I think everything's going to be fine. We'll just kind of figure it out as we go. But now you're seeing it's going to be July 31st at a minimum. So for Oklahoma, for Oklahoma State, for TU, that means that your elite camps are off the table in June. That means that discovering new recruits that fly in to Norman off the table. Oklahoma identified both Ethan Downs and Raleek Brown at a summer camp last year. It's a big deal. It also means your Champ U barbecue, your signature summer recruiting event, is off the table, or at the very least, pushed to August. Everything is upended. Everybody is trying to figure this thing out, and the kids are making their decisions to try to make sure that they have a spot no matter when football starts, because it will begin again. It's a matter of when, right? Not if, but when. Sports is going to come back like everything else is going to come back. Hollywood is going to go back into production. We're all going to get to work again. I understand the climate that we are in, though. Kaiser Family Foundation did a survey. 39% of folks say they are looking for work. We've seen record highs in unemployment benefits being applied for, approaching 10 million people who are looking for work. We have lots of smart people telling us we could be looking at 15% of the workforce looking for work and 12% into the next quarter. It's going to be a tough time. But I believe the coaches, I believe the athletic directors when they tell me, one, we're working it out, and two, I, like them, believe we need football, just like we need sport. We need a place where we can go. And if you have an opportunity to entertain people at this particular juncture, whether it be user-generated content, whether it is you listening to the radio like you are now, and I hope to give you a smile, hope to give you some information you can use, take your mind off of what is going on now, you have an obligation, I believe, to try. You have an obligation to show up, do the best you can, make each other smile during this very hard time. We are mid-pandemic now, right? We are in the middle of it. Let's see it through. What is the saying? You're going through hell, keep on going. Or, as we say in football, keep those pads low, cover the points, keep those feet moving. Keep those feet moving, people. When we come back, perhaps be joined by Jerry Ostrowski. I talked to him, or I got a text from him last night saying he was going to call in the show. I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to talk about a big commitment for Oklahoma. Yeah. During this dead period of time that's extended through May 31st at a minimum. You're listening to the RJ Young Show on your home for sports, the Sports Animal.